when you understand the science of blood sugar and you start to feel what your body feels like without it always being spiked, it's a really powerful feeling and it's a really powerful shift in your metabolism. And so I think that's the biggest ripple effect.
Welcome to The Collective Mic, the podcast where women leaders get loud about what really matters. I'm your host, Joyce Tody, founder of Collective Women's Leadership. We are not here for fluff. We're here to lead, build, and rise together. Whether you're climbing the corporate ladder, building your own brand, or redefining leadership on your terms, this mic is for you. So let's get into it. Hi, everyone. My name is Joyce Tody, and today I am so excited to sit down with one of my favorite health and wellness experts, Sarah Wragge. She took a chance on me, right? I DM'd her. I slid into her DMs a few months ago and said, I think your product's really effing dope. And I have this really cool business called Collective Women's Leadership where I can get you like 60 women and we'll have this really cool curated event. Are you down?
And I'm here.
And she
I was like, I like this girl's vibe. I like the energy. I'm always like, if you want something, you better ask for it.
That's right. That's how
so I was like, I'm in. I love this girl.
I love it. So here we are. I can't thank you enough. She flew in today. We have our Rooted in Wellness event tomorrow, the 17th. So here we go. I'm just going to get right into it because I think the noise on social media that I call the wild, wild west of the internet.
It is definitely the Wild West.
Yes. There's a lot of noise in the wellness space. Everything is coming at us. Buy this supplement, do this, right? All the things. And what do most people, we'll just get into it, like what do most women specifically get wrong about what being healthy is?
That it's a quick fix, that it's, an injection, that it's, they can do it really fast. Yeah. I think most women want to lose weight or shed a couple pounds. And it's just not like nothing. There's no free lunch.
There's no hack.
There's no hack. Yeah.
There's no sustainable hack, right? Consistency is the only hack.
Yeah.
And I find it enlightening and so refreshing that you've entered this scene and you bring so much passion behind it. We were just talking about how when things are founded truly from a place of wanting to help and be a servant leader or definitely want to bring knowledge to people, businesses grow.
Yeah.
And it's really nice. And your work is rooted really in the idea that food is medicine, which is brilliant, of course. And how do you help people actually believe that and not just hear it?
Because I think, our business is rooted on the foundation of blood sugar balance, behavioral change. But what I'm doing with you on a daily basis is implementing routine and structure, because whether or not people like to admit it, there is a lot of freedom within discipline. That's
powerful.
Yeah. And I know I personally love a schedule and a routine. I feel good about myself when I wake up and I make my bed and I drink my water and I do my little to-do list and it sets me off on the right foot. And I think everybody craves that, but I think what most people don't know is what to do.
Right.
I've found it so fascinating over 10 years of one-on-one coaching with people and understanding the ins and outs of their lives and their schedules and the pitfalls and when the cravings strike and where the indulgences happen. People don't know what to do. They wake up and they're like, well, should I intermittent fast? Because that's cool on Instagram right now. Right. Or, do I start with a carb because I should have my carbs at breakfast and then never have a carb again? Should I start with like protein forward? Should I do a fasted workout? People are so confused by what you just started by saying. There's so much noise and information.
Yeah, and it gets so overwhelming and everyone's trying to sell a supplement or everyone's trying to sell a program. And I've followed you long enough to know that you're not obviously throwing anyone a hack, and truly what you've done since the inception of your business has really helped. And I love that you can feel it, like when we talk, when we meet, like
Thank you.
All of our interactions.
Thank you.
You focus on, sustainable lifestyle changes, not dieting, which I love because that's, and I think that word's gone out a little bit, which I actually like, but what's the biggest mindset shift someone has to make to succeed long-term?
Oh, I love that. I think the biggest mindset shift is that it's going to take some work. And that nothing happens overnight. And I think with the rise of GLPs and all these medications and peptides, I think everybody assumes I can just take this and it'll work. And by the way, it might. But then what happens? What happened to adjusting the lifestyle and looking at your training and paying attention to your protein and being really, really like doing those peptides or those GLPs like in a responsible way? Yeah. And I think everything that is worth anything takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it takes, 21 days to form a habit?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, and it's consistency in terms of really wanting to make that sustainable change. And you talk a lot about routine and structure being everything. Why is consistency, in your opinion, after doing this work and working with many, many people, why is consistency more powerful than intensity?
Oh, I like that. Consistency, because I think intensity to me implies like burnout, or because by the way, I'm coming from like a majorly intense place. Like my whole life, I was intense. I'm going to overdo it. I'm going to over exercise. I'm going to do everything 110%. It doesn't work. You need recovery. You need the education. I think consistency is one of those beautiful things where if I actually tell my clients, like, picture you're a little kid on a soccer field and you're just kicking that ball and you're just trying to drive that ball into the goal. Don't look up. Don't wave to your parents on the sideline. All of a sudden you look and you're at the goal. Yeah. And so if we just stay consistent, keep your head down, don't get on the scale, don't start pinching weird parts of your body in the mirror and judging yourself, right? Or like just stay focused. Yeah. And rinse and repeat every single day, and then all of a sudden you look up and you're there.
Don't look at the 20-year-old trying to teach you fitness.
Right, on Instagram with really good abs.
Really good, yeah, because she's 20.
Right, because she's 20, right. And I'm like, why does she look like that? Because she isn't, there's a lot of things happening. Her frontal lobe is not developed quite yet.
I mean, and you founded all of this through your own health crisis in your career, which I love getting into. And what is the moment for you where it shifted from I need to fix myself to this life actually works?
I think I was living in a career of advertising and production, and I was traveling all over the place, and I was trying to find solutions that worked for me and my lifestyle. And I ultimately discovered that the lifestyle just wasn't going to work anymore. Like the late night dinners and the repeated hangovers. And then I was somebody who was always trying to feel better. So like I would come home from a shoot and then I would exercise all weekend or do like a juice cleanse or something. I was doing these extremes. Yeah. And I think I ultimately discovered that I just didn't want to have that anymore. I didn't want to. So I started kind of living a different lifestyle. And then I started motivating people around me to join that lifestyle. Yeah. And so ultimately, when I was in advertising, I decided to swap out steak and martini dinners for SoulCycle classes. Right. And I started taking my clients to workouts. I was like, well, you know what? I'm killing two birds with one stone. I'm going to get my workout in. My clients are going to feel good. And then they started asking me, like, what do I eat? What do I do for nutrition? Right. And I just decided to change it. And then I feel like I keep going through different iterations of, like, there's so many different levels of healthy and so many different levels of fitness that you can just keep going for. Yeah. And I kind of love that exploration.
You hit on so many good points in terms of bringing your clients with you, right? Making sure that what was working for you, you wanted to then teach and kind of give away to ensure people could feel like you were feeling and do what you were doing. And it is attainable. Even with this crazy life and all of these things, small changes add up to very big results over time. And your programs have really transformed thousands of lives. What simple change do you think that you teach creates the biggest ripple effect?
I think it's blood sugar. Yeah, I think it's, so when I started playing around and trying different sort of blood sugar balancing regimens, probably like 2017, 2018. And I started to understand the basic science, which is when your body releases insulin, it shuts down fat burning. Okay. So when you eat a bagel, your glucose surges, your blood sugar rises, your body sends in insulin, which is a hormone, and it says, we got to get this sugar out of here. It doesn't your body doesn't like that. So in that process, it shuts down fat burning. And so all the work that you might have done at your workout class or, the day before, it all kind of goes out the window when you spike your blood sugar. And a lot of people are eating healthy all day long, thinking, okay, well, I start my day with oatmeal, then I have a quinoa bowl with sweet potatoes for lunch, and then for dinner I have rice with steak and broccoli. And so they've spiked their blood sugar all day long, and then it's taken them out of a fat burn state. And when you understand the science of blood sugar and you start to feel what your body feels like without it always being spiked, it's a really powerful feeling, and it's a really powerful shift in your metabolism. And so I think that's the biggest ripple effect, because the twist that I really put on that is most people following a blood sugar balancing diet would tell you don't ever eat carbohydrates, because carbohydrates spike your blood sugar, and then insulin's released, and then it shuts down fat burning. But that is no way to live. That puts you onto a diet, right?
Isn't that Atkins or keto?
Correct. Atkins, keto, the carnivore diet. So that's not sustainable, and it doesn't work. Right. And so when I was creating my method, I decided, and as I was looking at behaviors, I'm like, well, everybody wants to enjoy themselves in the evening. We all want to have a couple drinks, maybe a couple bite of the fries, some dessert, go on a date. So save your carbohydrates for the end of the day. Great. And so, right, protein, fat, and fiber all day long, the blood sugar trifecta, and then you get to dinner and you can do what you want. Great. And it just worked. It started working for every single person that I was putting through my program, because I never said, Joyce, you don't ever get your fries again. You don't get to have your wine. You can have it. Right. Just, I need you to wait till the end of the day. Now, listen, this is broad strokes, of course, because there are athletes who we work for, and D1 people that are in sports and training. It's very different. Right. But generally speaking, if you just stay to a blood sugar balancing diet and mentality, you will lose weight, you will feel better, the food noises will stop, and you will have energy.
And I don't think blood sugar is talked about enough.
It's really not. I mean, I know like glucose monitors are getting kind of a big moment right now. I actually put one on. I actually put one on every once in a while, just so I can sort of look at what my glucose is doing. But this is how we track our clients real time. Okay. So if you were working with me, I would have your profile, and I'd be logging on to see what is Joyce's blood sugar doing throughout the day. Oh, wow. And then that would allow me to see your stress response, when you're eating carbs and sugar, what your exercise looks like, because you usually spike your glucose during exercise because your body's recruiting glucose. And it's another accountability method. Yeah. But I think the reason why I like it is because it is speaking to the whole person and not telling you what you can't do.
Interesting.
And I know from working with so many people, when you say you can't do that, that never works. And there's suffering involved. Yep. And you don't want, who wants to not have fun?
Yeah, I mean, it's just not possible.
It's just not possible.
Because then you're going to binge and feel bad about yourself, and then you start to
You go down this cycle. I call it the OF spiral, right? You start to go down this spiral, and it just doesn't work.
No. Yeah. If someone is dealing with low energy or inflammation or burnout, where should they start without feeling overwhelmed? Because say someone, so right now, right, I think the quick fix for everybody is, a shot or peptides, and maybe they're not even being educated on these things, and they're just grabbing peptides or a shot from a clinic down the street. Mm-hmm. So assuming, right, that most women are on something right now, or the world, as we all know, in order to be sustainably healthy, and they do want to make a lifestyle change and they're losing the weight, mm-hmm. but yet they're also losing a lot of muscle because they're not working out or implementing these. So if they were starting the shot, like what would be the next phase for you with them because of the overwhelming information coming at them?
Absolutely. The first thing is to be working with a reputable, good doctor that they really like. The first thing I would have them do is to get a body composition scan. So I like the InBody because it allows us to see skeletal muscle mass, lean muscle mass. It shows us what your BMI is, your visceral fat. And so if somebody's going to go on a GLP journey, I'm constantly looking at an InBody to see where can we tweak. Are they losing muscle? Are we also losing fat? You're going to lose muscle as you lose fat. Sure. But this is where you need to dial in and pay really good attention to what you're consuming. Yeah. The other thing is that most people aren't very hungry on these medications.
Oh, no.
And so then they basically become malnourished or they stop eating. Okay. And so this is where I think you need to implement like a protein powder or something that is going to, like we made our optimized protein because.
Which is great. I take it. I love it.
It's I think, I didn't even realize when we created it, I'm like, this is a perfect thing for a GLP because a lot of people don't want to eat a breast of chicken or a steak. They want to drink a protein hot chocolate. Right. But I think that's where how I would answer your question is an InBody scan, working with a really good doctor, and knowing that this is not a Band-Aid. This is like a cape. You know, this is a cape to help you go do what you're going to do with the medication, but it will backfire if you don't implement the lifestyle changes.
And you see it. I mean,
and I see it all the time.
I see people at the gym, and you can tell that they have just
overdone it.
I'm
yeah.
like, girl, get your ass back.
Yeah, I know.
Please get your ass back. It's gone.
Yeah.
You've built a proprietary method, which I think is awesome, and the SWW method, and like I said earlier, with everything being thrown at us, right? What do you pride yourself on? What makes the SWW method so different than everything else out there?
I think that it is structure, regimen, and routine. It's back to checking those boxes. Our method is 5 steps that you move throughout the day. It's you wake up, you alkalize, you elevate, which is speaking to your fasting window. Optimize is your protein forward. First meal of the day should be 30 grams or more. Yeah. Fuel in the afternoon is bridging that gap between lunch and dinner, where you're going to have a purposeful mini meal or a snack so you don't go into dinner starving. And then restore at night, which is talking about a wind down ritual. Sure. So I think a lot of us just go from this to, okay, well, why am I not falling asleep? Or why do I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, guns blazing, ready to go? Like the answer is you didn't do your homework to get your body ready, put yourself in a parasympathetic state of rest so you could sleep well. Yeah. And so I think what makes us different is it's really just simple. Like I'm not asking you to drink water, maybe pay attention to not snacking at nighttime and how long has your body been in a fasted state. Eat some protein, have a snack, and don't numb your hunger hormones with coffee and a brownie. Right. And then tell your body it's time to go to sleep. Right. Like that's it. It's so basic. Yeah. And there is science behind every single step because waking up dehydrated and running to a cup of coffee is not a great idea for cortisol, blood sugar. It makes you hungrier. So, you know, it's funny because you and I were talking about before with product. I almost feel guilty about having products because it feels very salesy to me. Yeah. But I really mean this wholeheartedly. I created the products not realizing we could make money on them. Right. I was like, well, I want a really good green juice alternative. I'm always on a plane. Green juice is expensive. Half of the stuff is filled mostly with apple and fruit. Right. And so, and I also have always loved wheatgrass. So our alkalized powder is primarily wheatgrass and like different things that alkalize the body. I also have always had reflux, so it helps with that. And then the protein powder is 45 grams of protein, and it's the cleanest protein that you can have. And then the minerals is magnesium glycinate and L-theanine, which helps you sleep. Yeah. And so, you know, it's funny because I almost feel bad, like, oh, there's a product for every step. But but it just helps
like
you.
that. Yeah.
Because also I think probably the person listening to this, everyone's so busy.
Yeah.
Who has time to eat a beautiful salad? I
Nobody.
don't, not at this time in my life.
No.
Maybe when I'm retired in my 70s, like this is not where I am now. I'm like, God gave me vegetables on the way to like dropping my kids off.
Yeah, honestly, before I DM'd you, I ordered Alkalize. I think that was the first product you brought to market.
It is,
and this was last summer. I can testify to this because I brought it with us to our lake house in Idaho, and I had it all summer, and I felt so good. I was doing exactly what you said. I have my Alkalize. First thing I do when I get up in the morning is I have my Alkalize while my coffee is brewing.
Yep. 1-2 punch.
And I have a little lemon wedge with it, and it's nothing. It's like 6 ounces, 8 ounces that I put the Alkalize in water, and I can promise you, not only does it get things moving, but then like I just felt my stomach become flatter. I felt better. I felt clearer. And I was doing that every single day. And I've been doing it every day probably for almost a year, I would say.
Yeah.
Which is what prompted me to DM you, because I was like, this actually works. She's really cool. And I believe in this, product. So that's what, led us to here. And then you launched protein, I think, second. So I ordered that. But I the product really is fantastic.
Thank you.
For me, one of my non-negotiables in my daily routine now is Alkalize. For you, and everyone knows I run 2 businesses. I'm very busy and do all of these things just as you are. But what are some of the non-negotiables for you in your daily routine that keep you performing at a high level?
So for me, I would say 2 things. Absolutely movement.
Yeah, for sure.
So I work with a coach who helps me with my business. And so we identified that I have 5 hats.
Okay.
He's like, you wear 5 different hats. I was like, I do? I feel totally crazy. Yeah. He's like, so you're Sarah.
Right.
Then you're a CEO.
Yeah.
Then you're a coach. Then you're a mom. And you're a wife.
Right.
Okay, so what I do now that really helps me when I'm getting overwhelmed is I'm like, okay, what hat am I wearing? So when I wake up in the morning, I'm Sarah, and I give myself a solid hour, ideally an hour, to go move my body. Yeah. I try to wake up slowly. I do my Alkalize. I go down to my gym. I strength train 3 days a week. I run 1 day a week, and I go to yoga 1 day a week, and it's pretty prescriptive. Yeah. Then I come upstairs and I wake my kids up, and I'm a mom for about an hour and a half. It's lunches and breakfast and brush your teeth, get in the car, and some of it's stressful, but I love that time. Yeah. And those 2 pieces are my non-negotiables. Like time with my kids in the morning that helps ground me, time with me for myself to move my body. And then I move to my different hats throughout the day. But I would say like that morning, I need my morning to kind of start in the right way.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so smart. I'm very similar. We're empty nesters now. Our kids are gone to college and having their lives, but same exact thing, right? Because I think so oftentimes you hear it, I hear it. How do you guys do all of this? How are you these successful businesswomen and wives and CEOs and mothers? And it comes down to a routine.
It does.
And self-care that's non-negotiable for us. And
it does.
I do try to tell that to people that I move every day, and I really make sure that I have my time. That's why I get up at 5 a.m.
Yeah,
and
the 5 a.m.
8:30.
Correct.
I am.
Right.
People are like, Joyce, seriously?
Yeah.
Like my phone goes away at 8.
Yeah. You know what? I had to work out the other day at 5 because I had to be in the city by 8 a.m. And I usually work out at 6. And I was like, this extra hour
it's great.
Was a game changer. Yeah. And the birds are chirping, like they're already awake. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I could maybe shift my day to an hour earlier. I do have to make sure I go to bed by like 9.
Yeah, correct.
That's the challenging part. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I have a 9-year-old that thinks staying up till 9, like 30 or 10 is really cool.
Oh, wow.
So that's a little tough right now.
You built this from such a deep personal space, and what I like to get into in my podcast is you made a bold decision, right? You made a bold decision as a woman, which we were talking about, even getting funding, right? Which we'll maybe get into. But you built this from a deeply personal space, and how has that shaped you in how you lead your business today?
So, yes, I think the way that I run our company, so we have 39 employees. And the way that I run the company is I'm a very transparent business owner. Mm-hmm. I like to overly communicate with the team. I like to let everybody know what I'm thinking and the direction that I'm taking things in, especially the top line, the C-suite people. Like, I want them to feel like they're part of the process. And I want them to feel good as individuals, as people working for the brand. I want them to feel valued. I want them to feel like I'm thinking about them and their well-being because they're taking care of our clients. Sure. And then with regards to my clients, like I have a quote up on my board that I look at, and it just says, how many people did you make feel good today? Because that's really what I want to do. Is I almost love a challenge of like, how am I going to prove to you how good you can feel one day? Because I think most people are walking around with their version of normal and they've never felt actually very good. Mm-mm. And then I would argue you could feel absolutely incredible. And I keep personally reaching these new places where I'll try a new exercise regimen, or I'll play around with my carbohydrate timer. And I love to kind of get to that next edge to see like how good can you feel, because when you feel good, you can do anything. And I think a lot of people that look at you and like, well, how do you do it all? I'm like, because I feel good.
I feel great.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, because I'm not eating sugar, and I'm not binge eating because I've restricted, and I'm not over exercising now. I was a big 7 days a week. You have to do 2 hours. I did that forever. I was crazy. And now I'm like,
it's a lot.
2 days a week. Yeah. I'm going to have a cappuccino in my bed. I'm going to enjoy. Permission for enjoyment, I think, is something else that I work on with our clients, because our client base is typically pretty A-list, hard charging people that are perfectionists and hard on themselves. And sometimes I'm like, you deserve a day off the gym. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to demand it. Yeah. And they don't love that, but they're better for it. Sure. And so I think that's just where I come from running the business, is wanting our employees to feel valued and feel good. And I want to prove to my clients that they can feel incredible.
Yeah. And it is a saturated market, as you know. Mm-hmm. What are some of the lessons you've come across, or the hardest parts of building your wellness brand? Because the wellness industry, like the internet and everything else, is so insane, right? 99% of what people are seeing online is fake and false and bullshit. And it really aggravates me with a lot of things. And I'm super vocal about it. Yeah. We constantly have people telling us, here's a hack for making more money. Here's a hack for being skinny. Here's a hack for putting on 20 pounds of muscle. Here's a hack for waking up and feeling good. And I just, I'm in the same space you are, and we're forging these companies out of a servant leader, fire in our belly that we want to help women or help people feel better. Mm-hmm. And what are some of the hardest things that you've come up against in terms of building this brand?
I think people just judging, or the nasty comments on Instagram that I'll get that I just have to ignore. Yeah. I also think that sometimes I look back at 10 years ago and I'm like, who did I think I was starting this? Just meaning I never saw any competition. I just drove to the goal.
So smart.
I never was like, I'm going to be another health coach. I never thought that. I just followed the fire in my belly with wanting to help people and stopping at nothing to make it happen.
That's right.
And a desire to just help them change. Right. And I think that I look back and I'm like, pardon my French, I'm like, I had some serious balls.
Yeah, you did.
The things that I did and asked for, and the people that I called, and I just kind of clawed my way.
That's right. That's what we do.
But I even now I'm like, who do I think I am? I'll get a speaking engagement or something, and I'm like, well, but you know what? I earned my way there.
Yes, you did.
And that's something that I've had to come to terms with. This isn't something I was given. I worked my tail off to get here, and I think that's pretty pretty neat. I think, along the way, it's definitely the judgment.
Yeah.
People that undermine you or say a nasty comment about how you're looking or something like that. And you just have to stay true to who you are and know that anybody who's going to do those things is coming from a place of scarcity or lack.
Sure.
You know,
yeah.
and
yeah, I
good luck.
You know, I teach women and mentors and companies in terms of women always asking, you know, I feel, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, like when I first started the Instagram journey, like you, I felt so cringy and ridiculous.
Right.
And it's been 2 years now that we've been consistent in building this brand, and you never know who's watching. And to your point, the same thing happened, right? You did your first Instagram reel, and someone in the comments or DM'd you saying, "Are you taking clients?"
Yeah.
Because, and I just did a reel about this because I think it's so important, because Instagram, and when you're building your business and when you're building something that you're building, that I'm building, that others are building, it's not for our friends, it's not for our cousins, it's not for our family, it's not for people who are judging us, who might think they know us.
Right.
Everything I do online has nothing to do and is not for my friends or my family or my cousins.
Right. It's
people
information.
judging. It's information. And
right.
enlightening and empowering and teaching and all of the things, just like you are. And I think, you know, what, in your opinion, what advice would you give to women who feel called to share their personal story and kind of turn it into a business? Kind of like I have, you have, we're seeing it all the time. And it gets caught up in this like personal branding mess that I cannot, honestly, drives me crazy right now, right? It's one of those buzz like hack things, like just build your personal brand and you can have a multi-million-dollar business. Right. Like that's not a thing. So don't even get me started on that. But turning your personal story, right, into a brand, I think is powerful, and you've done it.
Yeah.
Like you've killed it.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I'm like, I feel like I just woke up and I'm like, did I do that?
Yeah.
But I think it's because I never looked up from the driving toward the goal. Yeah. And the thing that was driving me always made me feel amazing to help people.
That's right.
And I always just came back to that feeling.
Yeah.
And it lit me up. It made me get out of bed in the morning. It gave me butterflies.
Yeah.
It's also when I was deciding, like Chris and I were kind of going through our fertility journey, and we had talked about maybe having a third kid. And I really felt actually very done after my daughter, which was such a good feeling to have. And I was excited to work again.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm probably always going to want to work because I like to have a purpose other than being a mom.
Sure.
And that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing it does is it creates a mutual respect with Chris where, there's no resentment over if I buy something or I want to take a trip or I can take us on a vacation.
Right.
And that, to me, I think the mutual respect is what you need in a marriage to make it really work.
Right.
And I think we have that tenfold because I've committed to this purpose that I feel like I have.
And you do. You work a lot with A-listers and high-performing women, and we are the ones that sabotage ourselves, right, when it comes to health.
Yeah.
How do you help them prioritize themselves without guilt? Is that part of kind of how you're helping as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's about being efficient with time. I think this is where that 5-step process comes in. And also, like with women that I've worked with in the celebrity world that are traveling all the time, and they usually have a good amount of people to help them. And so I'll just kind of quarterback all of that for them. Yeah. And they've earned that. Yeah. They've earned somebody to help prep their lunch for them because they're running to a shoot. Yeah. And they're helping also like put food on the table that way. And so I think, it's funny, I've learned a lot from some of those women about not having guilt. I feel like I'm sometimes feeling more guilty than they are. And I'll watch them and be like, I should walk around like Molly Sims does.
Right.
She's the she's taught me a lot, actually.
Good.
Yeah, she's such a powerhouse. Yeah, go girl, you got this.
Yeah. If someone listening today could take one thing and one step today to change the way they kind of life through wellness, what would you tell them to do today?
I would say, it sounds kind of like cheesy, but find your why. Yeah. Like, what's the why behind this step that you're going to take? Yeah. Is it for you? Is it because you want to be a healthier role model for your kids? Is it because you just want to look freaking hot?
Right.
Like I sometimes say to my clients, you can be completely superficial. Yeah. Is your goal to get really toned and ripped and you want to have a great body in a bathing suit?
Great.
Or is it to like learn how to meal prep for your family and maybe not drink as much?
Right.
Like there are so many different goals when you start, but I think figuring out what's that why. Yeah. And I think I've gotten really clear on my why, and my why is to be really show up for my family, to be very present when I can be with them, because it's not as much time as I often want. And also I want to scale this business and take it to another level. And it requires me being healthy and well slept and in shape and all the things that I do consistently every day to try to get there.
Yeah. Well, you're a badass.
Well, you are too.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How do people find you?
SarahWragge.com, WRAGGE.com, and then Sarah Wragge Wellness on Instagram.
Amazing.
Yes.
I cannot thank you enough for being
so
like
fun
a
to be here with you.
And just answering my DM.
Oh my gosh, love it.
I'm a huge fan. So hopefully anyone shares this. If you liked it, obviously subscribe, but share this with women. Any woman in your life that could really just use this information. She is the real deal, and she's here in Vegas with us for Collective Women's Leadership, and we're so proud of that. So thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
I hope you loved this episode as much as I did. For more tips on elevating your leadership, please follow us on Instagram, Collective Women's Leadership, or visit our website, collectivewomensleadership.com. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.